Hello, my name is Allison Corman, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. Today, I want to talk to you about the idea of knowing. And I know I've spent a lot of time talking about the fact that many of us are addicted to certainty. We have this need to know what's going to happen. And if we don't know what's going to happen, we project things are going to be bad or they're not going to work out. And I think many of us intellectually understand that when we want to know a future that can't be known, it creates suffering. We could worry things aren't going to work out. We can be stressed that we won't achieve our goals. We can equate not knowing with doom and gloom. But one topic I've not discussed is how we think we know ourselves. Because if I think about all the business and personal problems that people have come to my office to discuss, many of the problems were issues that my clients had with themselves. Isn't that interesting? Knowing ourselves is one of the biggest problems that we have. There are things about us that we hold on to that we can't achieve, that we're not smart enough, that we don't have luck, that we had bad luck in the past. We have all these stories about who we are. And these stories actually become our limitations. And yes, there are some people that are highly confident and they believe in themselves, and it becomes a true asset of theirs of how they see themselves. But many of us see the weaknesses inside of us because we know ourselves, we know our experiences, we know what happened to us yesterday, and we think we know what we're capable of. And it's not about whether you're a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher. It's the parts of us that we know that we think will dictate the rest of our life. It's the parts of us that we know that we think make things possible or not possible. And the funny thing about life is thinking we know who we are also sets us back because life keeps changing. Isn't that interesting that we know life keeps changing, but we don't realize that we keep changing because our narrative about ourselves is very stagnant because it's based on the past and the past is over. But we can see that with life, but we don't see that with ourselves. And if you can come to the moment and know yourself a little less and realize as life changes, as everything changes, we change too. But we have to allow that change, and with a fixed view of who we are, we will never get there. I know for me, when I first heard this concept, it was very liberating because I think I saw my past, I saw my experiences, and in my mind, there were only certain things possible because of it. And yes, through the practice of maybe and all these other practices, I've expanded so much. But I also include this idea that I don't know myself, which allows me to surprise myself every day. And again, my authentic self is always there. My kindness, my love, my generosity, that actually happens without thinking. But if I woke up every day and I said, I'm a lawyer, I'm an accountant, I have my master's in taxation, this is who I am, I wouldn't do this podcast every week. And I wouldn't have become a coach. And I wouldn't believe in an expanded future. When I don't know myself, so much more is possible because I'm not limited by the past. Knowing ourselves is part of the narrative of what's going to happen next in our lives. It's part of our addiction to certainty. This is who I am, and this is what my life can look like because this is what I'm capable of. But there's something not creative about that. There's something not fun about that. And again, why would we be the same? We're only the same because we see ourselves as the same. But if you wake up in the morning, you realize every day is new and you're new, and your reactions are new, and your thoughts are new. So how could you know who you are? Because you don't know what's going to come your way. And if you're really open and you're really in maybe and you're really flexible and you're really fluid, you have no idea what's possible. And there's something so liberating about thinking like this. I know it sounds strange because I'm saying allow yourself not to know who you are, but feel it. Because most of us are telling stories every day to ourselves about what's not possible and why we're limited, and we're part of that story. It's not just our outer circumstances. It's not just about unemployment. It's not just about lack of education. It's not just about the economy. It's also about us and what we think we're capable of and how we love ourselves. And everything that's ever happened to us in our entire life, we come to the moment with this and we take this knowing of who we are and we push it out into the future. But if we turn that around and we realize as this moment is new, we are new. And we don't fully know ourselves. We don't fully know what we're capable of because we haven't had so many different experiences. And we don't know what we think about everything. And our thoughts can change, our likes can change. We don't even allow ourselves to like new things because we get stuck and we get comfortable because this is what I like. This is what I like to do on Saturday. This is what I like to do on Sunday. This is my routine. This is what makes me comfortable. But what if you woke up and said, I don't know myself? Maybe something else would pull you. And I know that happens in my life. When I say I don't know myself, I'm more likely to sign up for a class, something new. I just recently took an aromatherapy class. I didn't even know I was interested in it. But I wasn't defining myself as to what I do and what I don't do, what I like and what I don't like. Because you realize that your identity was just something that was trying to keep you safe. That's why we think we know ourselves, because we want safety. If we don't know the future, then at least we could depend on ourselves, knowing what we like and what we don't like. And we could create this world that makes us feel safe because we know how we're going to show up every day and we know the choices that we're going to make. But that gets old and it gets boring and there is no safety. And it's also very limiting. It's interesting that people come to me and they want such big life changes, but they see themselves as they did yesterday. And in order to create something new, you need to be part of that newness. And every moment we actually need to create a new identity, a new knowing. And those are the people I find that are most successful, the ones that allow themselves not to know who they are fully. They don't seek safety in it. And also, many of us have a lot of issues with who we are because of what we think we know about ourselves. I'm anxious. I'm stressed. I haven't been successful. Well, what if in that moment none of those things are true? Yes, you could experience anxiety in the next moment, but at least it's new. At least you say, I don't know who I am. I don't know how I'm going to react. And you allow another pattern to come forward. And you allow another choice to come forward. When you allow yourself not to know yourself, you take new classes. You find new jobs. You find new interests. You watch different shows. You do different things. And most of all, you remove those limitations of self-doubt and lack of self-love. Because whoever that person was, that person no longer exists. And you can look at yourself freshly new in the moment. And yes, if you have deep seated issues about self-love and self-doubt, can they come with you? Sure. But allowing the newness in does shift things. It breaks you from the past. And it doesn't propel you into the future. It keeps you very present. And the present is where you create the future. And the present is where you live your life. So if you're looking for a more expansive life, a happier life, a more joyous life, know yourself less. Don't make certainty about yourself a mission or a calling or something that needs to be, because you will be stuck in the same mindsets for the rest of your life. But if you say, I don't know myself, you allow yourself every day to have new experiences, to have new thoughts, and to invite new possibilities in your life and access parts of yourself that you didn't know were possible. So thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you could email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my book, The Gift of Maybe, it's available at all major bookstores and online retailers.